The last super-eruption of the Yellowstone volcano occurred about 640,000 years ago, long before Homo sapiens saw the light of day. However, our species was present during another natural disaster no less devastating. This super-eruption took place on the island of Sumatra around 74,000 years ago, when a supervolcano erupted, unleashing chaos over vast territories, sending columns of debris and ash dispersing for thousands of miles, and causing global temperatures to plummet. The effects of this catastrophe were felt as far as southern Africa, and experts believe it had a significant impact on the early humans in the region. At the time of the eruption, our ancestors were already using stone tools and had likely developed the ability to produce yarn. Some specialists hypothesize that the Toba super-eruption was so powerful that it pushed our species to the brink of extinction. Scientists argue that the Toba eruption might have been the largest in the last 2 million years. The enormous amount of pyroclastic material released could have covered the entire territory of the United States with a layer as deep as a one-story building. About a third of this deposit accumulated in northern Sumatra, while much of the rest ended up under the ocean floor. The super-eruption left behind an elliptical crater lake about 96 kilometers long. The caldera is so vast that it is difficult to perceive that one is standing on a volcano. Pumice deposits from the eruption are still found in the canyon walls and extend deep beneath the ground. Despite this, the amount of pumice and ash involved in this disaster remains a subject of debate, as does the quantity of sulfur gases released into the atmosphere. Some sulfur layers found in polar ice may be related to the Toba eruption, but no direct connection has been found so far. Returning to the impact of the super-eruption on early humans, it seems that some of them not only survived, but also thrived after the catastrophe. Artifacts found, dated after the eruption, suggest that Toba may not have posed as severe a threat to our ancestors, who found refuge along the coast. Genetic evidence indicates that modern humans descend from just a few thousand people who left Africa around 60,000 years ago. Some experts hypothesize that the Toba super-eruption drastically reduced the number of humans, leaving only a small group to survive. The Toba super-eruption hurled about 4,680 cubic kilometers of dust and rock into the atmosphere, leaving a scar in the ground tens of miles wide. The dust and sulfur gas released may have caused global cooling, favoring the formation of glaciers and lowering sea levels. Since Toba may have played a crucial role in shaping humanity, scientists are working to better understand how our ancestors responded to this disaster. In 2011, a group of researchers discovered a peculiar soil sample at Pinnacle Point, an archaeological site in South Africa overlooking the Indian Ocean. The sample contained volcanic ash, and within the layer, over 400,000 artifacts left by primitive humans were found, including heat-treated stone tools, signs of fires, and animal bones. These findings suggest that ancient humans along the South African coast thrived after the eruption, continuing to live in the area for thousands of years and refining their tools. The region may have offered a safe refuge during and after the Toba eruption. A 2009 study suggests that the Toba eruption may have lowered global temperatures by about 14 degrees Fahrenheit, making survival difficult in other parts of Africa. However, some coastal areas may have been less affected. On the other hand, more recent studies argue that Toba released so much sulfur into the atmosphere that the resulting compounds could have aggregated, limiting the long-term cooling effect. In other words, temperatures would have plummeted immediately after the eruption, but only in some regions, and the effects would have subsided within 3 years, becoming non-threatening to humans. There is still much to discover about these events. In the meantime, we can ask ourselves if there are volcanoes to worry about today. Last year, thousands of small earthquakes shook the ground near the Svartsengi geothermal power plant in Iceland. Magma has risen to the surface, opening wide fractures that cut across the town of Grindavik. The ground is still swelling, and an eruption could occur without warning. But this is not an isolated case. Worldwide, another 45 volcanoes continue to show signs of activity. For example, Vesuvius in Italy, famous for destroying Pompeii in 79 AD, has experienced 8 explosive eruptions in the last 17,000 years, the last of which was in 1944. Mount Rainier in the United States is considered one of the most dangerous volcanoes due to its high altitude, proximity to the suburbs of Seattle and Tacoma, and its ability to produce massive pyroclastic flows. The Novarupta volcano, located in Katmai National Park and Preserve in Alaska, was formed during an eruption in 1912, the largest of the 20th century, and created the Valley of 10,000 Smokes. Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines is known for the massive 1991 eruption, which was the second largest of the 20th century, causing the death of over 700 people. Today, more than 21 million people live within 100 kilometers of Pinatubo. Mount Agung in Indonesia was the site of one of the country's most tragic eruptions in 1963, which lasted 11 months and caused the death of over 1,000 people. In 2018, ash plumes were seen above the volcano following the November 2017 eruption. Mount Fuji in Japan has not erupted since 1707, but experts warn that it could be at risk of another eruption due to the magnitude 9 earthquake that struck Japan in 2011. Finally, Mount St. Helens in Washington state was the site of one of the most destructive eruptions in U.S. history in 1980, killing 57 people and destroying 518 square kilometers of forest. Mount Merapi in Indonesia is one of the most active volcanoes in the world and poses a serious threat to surrounding populations, with its most recent eruption occurring in January 2024. Thanks for watching, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel to support us.